Hi, I'm Cindy Hurn, and what I really love is the landscape of the mind. And that has led me down lots of different paths in my life. And in particular, I teach personal development, and I also work as a hypnotherapist in Norwich. And today, we're going to talk about you, and we're going to talk about change, and we're going to talk about you changing. And to do this, I'd like to share with you a story about a rabbit. Now, I always love rabbits. I have this thing about them. And I love, when I get a rabbit, I house train it, so the rabbit has the entire run of the house. Well, years ago, Rose came into my life. Rose was an adult white rabbit, probably at 5 years old, had lived in its cage its whole life. So when I got Rose, I took its cage and I put it in the back hallway. And I took Rose out and I put Rose down on the floor. And I said, "Okay, Rose, you got the whole place. Go for it." And Rose looked up at me and she hopped 2 steps to the right. And she hopped 2 steps to the left. And she stopped. And I said, "No, go on, Rose, you got the whole place." And I gave her a little bit of a nudge, and she hopped 2 steps in front, and she hopped 2 steps behind, and she stopped. And what I realized, that although Rose's cage was in the back hallway, she believed that she was in her cage, and therefore could only go 2 steps to the right or 2 steps to the left. So I looked at Rose and I gave her a big kick and I sent her across the room, and she suddenly realized that she had freedom, that she was no longer in her cage. And Rose learned to travel and learned to live in that bigger space. And the really interesting thing about Rose is that if she needed to, her cage was always in the back hallway. And when she needed to, she could go back into it. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about you, and we're talking about change. And sometimes what we do is we wear these cages in our minds. We believe that we can only go 2 steps to the right or 2 steps to the left, and therefore we limit ourselves. We stay with what we know. We stay with what is familiar. Change is about letting go of that cage. Change is about expansion. It is about exploration. And when we take those cages off our minds, we are open to discovery. We are open to discovery. So I'm asking you now to think about the cages that you have within your mind, and to think about how you limit yourself, how you believe you can only go 2 steps to the front or 2 steps to the back. But just as with Rose, Rose was not in her cage, but she was believing that she was. In my work as a hypnotherapist, I help take away those cages. When I teach the personal development courses, we are expanding our mind. And that's the wonderful thing about the mind. There are no cages. We put them there. We believe that we are limited, but the mind is not. So I'm asking you, think about you and looking at your cages, and then realize that they're not there. They're only there because you believe they are. So give yourself that kick up the bum. Go further than you've ever gone before. And in doing so, you open to discovery. Thank you.